spring of 2018, I was lucky enough to take a class on World War II history, and then subsequently get to travel to Europe as part of that class in the summer to study World War II history and to see some of the sites. During the course of the class, I got really interested in my own family history regarding World War II, and so I asked my grandma to show me some of the scrapbooks that she'd always told me my grandfather, who was a journalist and photographer during the war, brought back with him. When she took me to the cabinet where they were kept, my jaw dropped. I expected to see a few interesting photos and memorabilia to browse, but what she showed me far surpassed anything I had imagined. My great-grandfather brought back hundreds of photos from the war that depict the daily lives of soldiers in multiple theaters of war, European, Mediterranean, and African. He organized the photos into scrapbooks where photos are pasted onto paper flaps and layered 10 or more deep on every single page of each of the scrapbooks. And when the photograph is flipped up, my grandfather actually recorded journal entries for most of the photos. And because he was a journalist, the entries are both well written and detailed. Unfortunately, the collection is absolutely amazing, but it's also deteriorating. And the scrapbooks will not last in their current form, particularly if they're exposed to frequent handling. The paper that my grandfather typed his journal entries on is crumbling away rapidly. Every time I touch it, another piece falls off. And once those entries are lost, there will be no way to retrieve those memories. So, I'm drawing on my interdisciplinary background in both history and communication, as well as the skills I've learned in multiple archival internships, to work toward digitally preserving this collection with the intention of recreating the scrapbooks in the form of a single book that will serve as a pictorial war history from the perspective of my great-grandfather. I want to supplement his journal entries with my own research on the people and places in the photograph to create an even richer historical narrative. This book will allow all of my family to enjoy this really remarkable piece of our history in its entirety without further damaging this original collection. And finally, I'm also going to be researching the best ways for my grandmother to store these scrapbooks so that they last as long as possible in their original form. I'm using a small portable scanner rented from my local library to scan the photographs, and I have to carefully deconstruct the scrapbooks to scan each of these photos. When I'm finished with the lengthy process of digitizing this collection, I will have to start researching the collection further to find out more information. In the fall, I will be applying to graduate school with the intention of getting my PhD and becoming a historian and a college professor. This project is providing me with a wealth of experience practicing skills that I will need to use in my future career. History has always been fascinating to me, but I've never known much of anything about my own family history. This project is an incredibly special journey for me. Not only am I seeing a personal history of my own family member laid out before my eyes, but I'm also able to gain a more intimate view into one of the most impactful and formative world events in history through the perspective of a relative. The story of World War II is composed of countless individual stories of everyday people, and his photos are a visual reminder of that amazing fact. You can look directly into the faces of these men and women of the past, frozen in time. And if, as they say, a single picture is worth 1,000 words, then I think these hundreds of photos tell a story of epic proportions. Though this project is a significant challenge, I know as a student of history and communication that I have the skills and resources to preserve, digitize, research, write, and compile this collection into a book for my family to enjoy and treasure.
Des yeux qui font baisser les miens, un rire qui se perd sur sa bouche, voilà le portrait sans retard.